Hi YouTube, Goddess Lily. I have a lace wig repair to show you, so I'm just going to get right in it because I don't want to lose the sun. It's late in the afternoon and the sun is setting. So I believe this hair is bohemian hair. I'm not quite sure, but this is for a client actually that I did work before. I made a closure for her, so she's actually a repeat client. So there was no ventilating involved in this, but I'm going to tell you step by step what I did to her wig. So first of all, the first thing I did was I bleached the front half of the wig. Now I have two charges for bleaching. I have a charge for bleaching the first half, and then I have a charge for bleaching the whole wig. So to bleach the front is half of the cost to bleach the entire wig. The wig is separated, as you know, a lace wig is separated into three parts. You have the front, you have the stretch, and you have the back. So I'm going to show you the bleaching first, and then we'll move on. So I want to get up close because I want you to see the difference, hopefully. So this is the front half that's bleached. So as I tilt the wig, I want you to notice the difference in the knots that are not bleached. So basically the whole front half is from here to here. And then these are the knots that are not bleached. So this just gives you an idea of my bleaching, how I bleach. So I hope, let me pull it in a little closer. You know, the sun's glaring in my face, so I'm not sure I can really see. Okay, so this is the top. So it's gone all the way down. So I bleached all the way to here, to the stretch. So this starts the knots in the stretch. So can you see that? So so you can kind of tell the difference. So we have non-bleached down here, and then we have bleached up there. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so I'm going to turn her inside out because most of the work was done in the inside. So we bleached the knots. So the second thing I did after I bleached the knots was I sealed her entire wig with Easy Tab. Now initially I wanted to seal the front, and she wanted the whole wig sealed. So I actually have two charges for that, where I could just seal the front or I can seal the entire wig. Sorry about the helicopter. So I don't know if you can kind of see the glare, but the whole wig is sealed with Easy Tab, and there is 2 layers of sealing. So after the seal, 24 hours, it dries, I move on. So for her, I sewed tracks, because when it comes to ventilating, I only repair the front of the wig. I do not repair the back of the wig. Trying to repair the back of the wig that's shedded, when the wigs are made in China, they're not made to last more than a year. They're made to shed so you can, you know, continue buying them. So I only repair the front half, and I like ventilating closures and making closures, so my specialty is the front. So the front looked okay to her, so we just focused on the back. So she sent me a lot of hair, and I actually determined how much hair to put in. So I have put in 7 layers of hair. So we'll start from the bottom. Layer 1 is basically across the very bottom. You can kind of see the edge here. So that's layer 1. This is layer 2. This is layer 3. Now each of these are layer 4, 5, 6, 7. So almost always when you're adding hair, you're gonna always, you know, end up adding hair in the stretch. And you have to know how to add the hair in the stretch so that you don't take out the stretch, because the purpose of the stretch is really important in lace wigs. You know, you can't really fit it over your head if it didn't have a stretch. So when you are sewing hair in, you cannot sew layers directly across the stretch. That's a big no-no. You can't just from ear to ear, because it'll take the stretch out that way. So now you have, you know, you have the stretch this way, of course, and because I left an inch out in the center, so, you know, we're going to have the stretch that way too. So that's important. You want to keep that stretch when you're adding tracks in your hair, even if you're hand sewing. So basically, you know, these are one layer, and I angled it so that I could continue sewing and keep, you know, the stretch in the middle. So now the last thing we did was we added drawstring elastic and comb. So I'm going to put it back on here because I want to show you what I did and how I did it. So I'm going to put her so I can show you how it's going to, I just dropped that one. And put it there. So I guess you can't really see it, huh? Because I pinned it. Let's take the pins out. Anyway, we have two options. We could have either put a regular elastic or a drawstring elastic. And I opted to put a drawstring elastic because it lays flatter, and then it gave me a chance to be creative. So it's not going to really, well, it will, but I'm just going to draw it up so you can kind of see. So basically you'll put it on your head, you know, and you'll put your combs in place. Most likely you won't have any stretch here because it's going to fit probably around. If it's too bulky, too loose in the back, probably all your stretch will be in the back. But basically, you know, you're just going to put it on your head, stick your combs in, you know, and draw it up and tie it in a nice big bow. So you'll be putting it on, of course, this way. So some kind of way you're going to have to put it up in a clip or a ponytail, and, you know, your strings are going to hang down. So just kind of draw it up, tie it in a ponytail, I mean, tie it in a, you know, a bow, a shoestring bow, and just, you know, stick it up in there. And that is how you basically alter and make a lace wig fit. You're going to have some type of elastic or combs or drawstring elastic. You're going to have something. You're going to need something to make it snug. So I'm going to go ahead and tie it in the back because I can't tie it on the mannequin. So basically, this is it. This is the drawstring is going to give you that nice little snugness that you need in the back. You know, keep your wig from falling off when you're running or partying or dancing. So, you know, you sent me a different length of hair, a longer hair. So the hair you sent me stops here. And the hair I added in stops way down here. So this is your hair. So I'm not a beautician, so I don't cut the hair. I'll leave that up to you. You probably won't want to cut it. I mean, you don't need it cut, but you certainly probably, you know, at some point probably want to just, you know, even it up a little bit, because it did give it a lot of fullness. I love the fullness of it now. So a couple things I want to highlight. I want to say to all you people that are considering after you see this video, sending me a lace wig to repair. Um, First of all, if you are sending me a wig that's been sitting in your drawer for over a year and it's dirty and it smells, if I open up the package, I'm going to send it right back to you, because it's not fair to me to send me, you know, smelly wigs, dirty wigs that you have not took the time and washed. That's just really, really, really rude and inconsiderate. And if I don't send it back and I decide to do your repair, you're going to see a little charge for shampoo and conditioner. Now, I don't know what the shampoo and conditioner goes for at the salon. I'm not a beautician, so I'm not going to be responsible for your hair if I have to wash it because it smells so bad. I'm not going to be responsible for it, you know, tangling up in a big knot because it hasn't been washed in a whole year. You know, but I'm still going to charge you probably $25 to wash and condition it. So what I am saying is, wash your wigs and your hair before you send it to me, because I just might send it back to you, or I might just have to wash it and condition it myself and then you know, charge you for it. And if I do wash and condition it, I'm not a beautician, so I'm not responsible for your hair and how it turns out. If it turns out in a big ball and a big mess, it's not going to be my problem, because you know, you were inconsiderate and you sent me a dirty wig. Okay, so what I wanted to show you really quick, because I know you're going to ask me, how did I get this drawstring elastic? So basically you're going to have to make it, because you're not going to be able to find a flat elastic that has a drawstring in it. Most of the drawstring elastics are made for like swimsuits and exercise wear or whatever, so the elastic's really, you know, stiff and the cord is really, you know, thick. So this is a fold elastic that I use for this purpose. And so of course, you know, I get my elastic by the rolls. I go to downtown LA to the garment district, fabric district, whatever they call it, to a trim store. So this elastic actually folds. So it has a little silk strip, a thing in the middle, and then it you know, it folds. So this is the type of elastic that normally you would see people would use it for bras. You know, it's mostly used for lingerie, fold elastic, and it comes in all different colors. And this is a 1/4 inch. They do have it in 1/2 inch, was a little larger, but you know, for my purposes, 1/4 inch works. So basically, if you want to do your wigs at home, you need this fold elastic, although you can probably use, you know, the regular 1-inch elastic that I use on my wigs if you want. And then I couldn't find the size that I wanted in a big roll like this, so I just bought, you know, probably like 25 of these little tiny packs. So this is just called round elastic cord. And basically it just looks like this. It has a little stretch to it. So it's just, you know, a real tiny cord like that. And what I did was I put the cord in and then I machine sewed it. You know, I had some of the cord sticking out, so I machine sewed it and then I cut it. And of course I'm always going to put a little bit of you know, glue, super glue, nail glue, to keep the elastic from fraying, because this elastic does fray. So this, you know, if you have a machine that does sew individual or that sews that clear thread, then you can go ahead and baste it, hand baste it, and then turn it in the inside out and move the hair apart, and you can go ahead and, you know, and sew it down. But I took the liberty of hand sewing mine with clear invisible thread because I like to give it that little extra love and attention, and I know it's not going to come down because I hand sewed it. So the same here, you get to the end, you cut the thread and you put a little something on it to keep it from raveling. and you do the other side. The combs are, I get the combs from the same place I ordered the Easy Tab, and they basically just come in a really long, you know, real long thing like this. So you have to have wire cutters, and you know, you just basically, you'll cut the comb right here, so at the edge to give you that loop, and then you just, however many, you know, prongs you want, and then you open it and you cut it again. So you need that loop. And there's two ways to sew these combs down. You can just sew it across the top, or you can sew it, you know, in the inside, like sew these two together and these two together through your wig, and it'll basically stay. So we have 6 combs, 1, 2, the larger ones. These have 3 prongs, and these have, in the back, have 5 prongs. So, and then 2 here. So we have 6 combs. So that is this lace wig repair. She's ready to go home to her mother. And so you can visit my website, lilyseymour.com, and click on the tab Wigmaking to check out all my prices and rates. Everything's there. Okay, thank you for watching.